Oke, halo semuanya. Kembali lagi di podcast Whitebirds Academy. Halo semuanya. Ya, semoga kalian sehat-sehat semua. Buat yang di Jakarta, hati-hati lagi banjir ya pada saat podcast ini. Jadi mungkin bisa sambil nunggu banjir sambil dengar podcast ini. Karena sekarang ada tamu yang sangat-sangat spesial sekali, yaitu senior concept artist based di Australia sekarang ya, kalau nggak salah. Ah,
Mm-hmm.
yaitu Mas Jordan Tovan. Say hi.
Hey guys, and thanks for having me on, Yurian.
Ya,
Pleasure
makasih
to be
juga
here.
Mas buat ini datang ke podcast White Brass Academy.
Yeah, of course. Nggak apa-apa ya kalau campur Indo and English because my Indo is actually not super fluent, but feel free to talk in Indo juga. I can fully understand.
Oke, gak apa-apa. Oke. Sip, sip. Berarti udah berapa lama di Australia?
Udah cukup lama sih on and off ya. So I've been here total maybe udah 10 tahun.
10 tahun. Oh, oke.
Tapi the first time ke sini when I was I think when I was still in SD. But then I
Oh.
moved away, traveled between different countries, and I came back here for high school.
Hmm.
Terus university di sini juga.
Hmm.
Terus after that, I moved away. But after traveling again for quite a few
Hmm.
years, yeah, I'm trying to settle here lah sekarang.
Apa yang membuat Mas Jordan settle di Australia nih?
Keluarga sih.
Ah,
Karena most
oke.
of my family di sini dan pas saya kerja di Newcastle di UK,
Hmm.
rada-rada kesepian ya karena no one really visited there and it's quite far from Indonesia and Australia. Jadi ya daripada setiap tahun berapa kali balik ke Indo terus juga tiket lumayan mahal, mendingan
Iya.
ya pindah balik ke sini lah. Apalagi juga after COVID kan,
Iya.
lockdown, terus merasa kesepian banget. Itu benar terasa sih. Sebelumnya kan ya udahlah setahun atau maybe 2 kali setahun balik ke Indo, jadi ya udahlah, not so bad. But after the lockdown I'm like, okay, I really want to be near my family, so that's why I decided to move back to
Ah. Oke, nice. Oke, mungkin buat perkenalan aja ya buat yang belum tahu Mas
Mhm.
Jordan siapa. Harusnya semuanya udah pada tahu ya siapa Mas Jordan.
Ah,
Tapi dia senior concept artist, udah bekerja di gaming industri kayak Eminence, Grim Arts, Fox Nora dan masih banyak lainnya. Sekarang juga buka mentorship, jadi buat yang kalian yang mau level up skill desain kalian, concept art bisa ikut mentorship ke Mas Jordan. Nanti mungkin aku kasih linknya di description aja, jadi biar kalian bisa daftar langsung.
yeah, that'll be appreciated, man.
Ya, nice. Dan ini udah dari 2015 berarti ya sebagai artist, Mas Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, time really flies. Yeah, if you think about it, I've been in the industry, or at least I started 10 years ago.
Udah senior sekali ya. Jadi dulu tuh apa yang memulai Mas Jordan buat masuk ke industri ini? Apa yang menginspirasi Mas Jordan buat masuk sebagai concept artist?
I think it's similar with a lot of us. Yeah, we
Hmm.
get into concept art atau the entertainment industry because we love entertainment. We love playing games,
Hmm.
and I think like a lot of us in high school, actually instead of really drawing, I was spending more time playing games. Jadi ya, my poison of choice were like World of Warcraft, CS juga.
Yeah.
Dulu sempat main Ragnarok online.
Classic. Ya,
Yeah,
keren.
yeah. Itu big influence for me sih. Dan ya, selain online game, I really like to play JRPG juga. And my favorite one is Dragon Quest. So all of these things really inspired me growing up. And I actually didn't know that there was a field called concept art until halfway through university. So some people can. It's actually pretty crazy for me to hear that there's some people that discover concept art when they're in their teens. Terus mereka udah kayak decide, oh yeah, I want to do concept art when I grow up. Tapi for me, I was doing multimedia design halfway through and I went halfway through that course because I didn't really know that there was any other options, and it was only halfway then that I knew about FZD. Karena over holidays I met up with a friend, terus kita ada mutual friend yang ke FZD juga, dan we were those kids at the back of the classroom drawing all of the time. So when I saw the improvement that he made, dia juga at that time masih belum selesai FZD loh. Baru aja kayak 2 term atau apa, tapi saya lihat nih, wah gila, level up-nya banyak banget. So yeah, I at that point I also decided to drop out of university, and thankfully, of course, my parents are able to afford it for me. So I know that I'm very lucky in that way. And yeah, I don't think I ever look back since then lah. And thankfully, it actually worked out in the end, because I think my parents juga a bit worried at that time. Kayak, wah udah mahal university terus sekarang mau drop out terus sekolah yang satu lagi. Tapi ya, like I said, thankfully it actually ended up working out gitu.
Iya, nice. Berarti tahu konsep art dari videonya Feng berarti.
Yeah,
So,
like a lot of people. And you were also in FZD, right?
sama dari FCD.
How did you find out about concept art atau FZD?
Sebelumnya nggak pernah tahu ya, tapi sejak itu sama di tengah university juga. Itu pas lagi memang ngincarnya ke video game, tapi nggak pernah tahu itu kayak ada konsep art gitu kan. Terus suatu saat ada teman tiba-tiba dia bawa video dari Feng, terus kayak Yur lihat nih ada video keren banget gitu kan. Dulu mikirnya kayak gambar keren itu keren gitu, nih ada nih Terus ini apa ini keren banget gitu, kok dia bisa gambar spaceship, bisa gambar monster, environment gitu kan. Terus ini ternyata namanya konsep art gitu. Wah. Nah disitulah mulai, habis itu nge-pursue. Waktu itu masih kayak FZD wannabe gitu kan, masih gambar ngacak gitu. Yang penting.
No, same. I was doing the speed paint karena I know that FZD teaches concept art, tapi a lot of the videos lebih kayak speed paint lah. Jadi I think a lot of us and people that watch Feng's videos, we all trying to do the same style that he does in his videos.
Bener banget ya. Abis itu nanti hasilnya jadi muddy, nggak jelas.
I actually can show you sih. Maybe you can show it to your audience some other way. Tapi I can share with you some of my old art before I started FZD.
Oh my god, coba kirim aja nanti, mungkin bisa diedit.
Bisa. I actually can drop it in the chat right now very quickly. Okay. Beberapa. Okay. And you can share it with the audience juga. I have no shame about this. We all start somewhere kan. Tapi it's exactly as you say, it's that mushy kind of speed paint yang value-nya kacau, composition-nya juga gitu-gitu aja.
Iya bener. Ya baru pas masuk FZD baru ngerti kayak ternyata ini ya konsep art gitu.
I think that's actually one of the things that really opened my eyes, the FZD. Yeah, you can say that it's also the environment, learning with other students. Tapi I think one of the big issues, and maybe you're experiencing this in your teaching, tapi not very many people know the difference between concept art, illustration, atau what we actually do.
Jadi menurut Mas Jordan, konsep art itu apa sih? Dan apa bedanya sama yang lainnya gitu, kayak illustration, artist yang kayak gitu-gitu?
I think simply put, it's problem solving.
Bener.
And when we work on games kan, when we're given a brief, let's just say we want to design a prop atau environment atau character from this universe, that's a problem kan in itself. They want to know how they can visually represent this in this universe and fulfilling certain functionality, storytelling, then emotional aspects as well. Then you at the same time fitting the art direction. Itu a problem to be solved technically.
Benar.
Nah, itu perbedaannya sama illustration, for example. A lot of the design is done. And most of the time when people do illustrate, not to say that there's no overlap. And here's the tricky part. A lot of people can get into art because of fan art, for example. I was no different. I did Dragon Ball Z fan art. But when you do fan art, the design is done for you. Maybe the thing that you're changing is the pose, atau you try to emphasize certain aspects. Tapi kurang lebih, you don't have to do as much designing and problem solving. And illustration, itu the end product. Jadi what you finish with is what you're going to put out to the world. Tapi concept art itu biasanya lebih ke pre-production. Jadi kan biasanya di-pass down ke 3D modeler atau someone else down the pipeline. Tapi ya zaman sekarang memang sih ada lebih banyak overlap karena apalagi in the studio sometimes the concept artist has to do the finished result too. Tapi if I really have to summarize the difference between concept art and illustration, the two major ones ya concept art lebih ke problem solving lah.
Betul, betul sekali. Ya, itu juga kerasa sih waktu mengajar juga di Whitebirds Academy. Kan di sini di Indo kan belum populer ya. Konsep art itu apa? Jadi mereka masih mindset
Yeah,
itu
yeah, yeah.
illustration gitu. Gimana caranya menjadi gambar
Yeah.
bagus gitu. Nah, jadi mereka
Yeah.
tuh kebanyakan fokus buat finishingnya. Gimana caranya biar si gambarnya bagus.
Yeah, yeah,
Ketimbang
yeah.
problem solvingnya itu kayak gimana sih, ini fungsinya apa, emotionnya apa yang bisa di deliver ke gamenya gitu. Mungkin Mas Jordan
Yeah,
ngerasain
yeah.
itu juga nggak ke selama mentorship, atau mungkin dulu pengalaman juga kayak gitu sama.
Yeah, of course. I mean, personally speaking, I was like that, and everyone, I think most people are like that juga karena ya we wouldn't know any better lah. And concept art is a very commercial thing, and unless
Yeah.
you've really worked in the industry, yeah, it's hard to really know what the needs are unless you have someone communicating it to you. Tapi yes, within students, I do see that as a very common problem. I think a lot of, especially the younger artists yang belum ada pengalaman, mereka ya it's about the rendering gitu. How nicely I can do this. Kayak oh the armor, the face gitu segala macam macam. Which look, they're all good skills to have. Tapi more than anything, it's about what about the armor? What function does it serve selain to protect the character? Maybe there's a very specific creature in this universe that the armor is designed to protect them against. And then thinking about how the armor is constructed gitu. Terus juga maybe the storytelling element of like, oh, this person is from this tribe that maybe likes to hunt animals. That's why the armor dibuat dari kayak leather and bones. Terus juga the storytelling can come from the condition of those items. Jadi it's not just it looking pretty, tapi maybe we want it to look weathered. We want it to look chipped off atau battle damage, which tells a story that oh, this warrior has been through a lot gitu. So it's these kinds of things that I think a lot of the students don't really think about. Mereka cuma mau kayak oh, focus on the technical ability and the render, because like I said, it's normal and it's what we normally see, and it's easy to just look on the visual side lah, because it's the surface level.
Benar.
And we are impressed by skill. Karena of course we're gonna look at people that we look at their art and we feel like, waduh, wow, they're an art god for being able to render this realistically. Tapi as we talked about, it's not about your rendering ability as much as it is the thinking behind it that makes a concept artist valuable.
Tapi kalau misalkan pekerjaan di industri nih kan, sebagian besar dari murid-murid atau junior artist ya, mereka terekspos konsep art tuh dari ArtStation misalkan ya kan, dari key art, key shot gitu, semuanya pengen yang kayak Feng bikin gitu. Dari pengalaman Mas Jordan itu, apakah seperti itukah konsep art, selalu pakai key shot atau ada three quarters gitu, props gitu?
Yeah. The reality is that concept art is not always so glamorous, yeah. Kadang-kadang what you see at the station, what you have to realize, you have first of all ask yourself these questions. Apakah ini personal project? In a personal project, you can do whatever you want. Yang penting it looks good, it's more stress relief, something you do for fun. Jadi nggak ada tujuannya gitu. It's except to have fun atau personal expression. Tapi when you're working for a production, it's not always so glamorous, yeah. And most of the time, what people put up on ArtStation is the glamorous side yang lebih presentable lah. Karena the reality is that if I wanted to put all of the professional work I've ever done, I think most of it kayak it's not gonna look too impressive.
Iya, betul.
So it's kind of boring.
Iya, betul.
Sometimes all we have to do is take other people concept, do a turnaround of it, Atau kayak this small prop in this room, can you define the materials a bit more? And especially at the start gitu, I think a lot of us you expect when we get to the industry we're gonna do epic environments and we create the main characters of the game.
Yeah.
Unless you're working in an indie studio, yeah, the reality is that most of the time you're gonna do something humble, working off of people's concepts, atau even like I said, doing turnaround of their concepts.
Yeah, benar.
Or sometimes it's even less glamorous than that, you know. Kayak my first game was a casino slots game. And I just had to do, you know, kind of like photo bashy kind of characters for the slots based off of fairy tales. It wasn't glamorous, but man, I was so happy to even just have my first job in the industry back then. And a lot of my jobs that I initially got, honestly, were not too exciting. And I think that's maybe what causes a bit of the confusion within students, is that they can't tell what is personal work and even the professional work. They're only seeing the most glamorous things, atau they're seeing it from like a senior concept artist, the principal art director, atau apa, that makes them feel like, oh, this is what I'll be doing. Tapi that doesn't always reflect the reality of the industry. And sometimes it makes students feel like, oh, I always have to have these super epic pieces in my portfolio. Tapi kadang-kadang what will get you hired is that, oh, maybe very solid prop turnaround gitu, atau kayak you're being able to do orthographs of like certain small props gitu.
Benar.
Because in the end, every studio, every production, there's always going to be the grunt work atau kayak the little things that it's not so glamorous, but it needs to be done lah gitu.
Iya, benar. Ya, dulu juga pas project Coral Island itu pernah cuman bikinnya tuh batu. Aku tuh bikin batu dan berbagai macam batu gitu. Tapi kan itu penting gitu. It needs to be done gitu, dan player harus berinteraksi dengan itu, dan ada yang harus ngedesain gitu. Ya kita sebagai desainer gitu, meskipun emang boring, batu bukan karakter utama, bukan monster.
Yeah,
tapi itu,
for sure.
Itulah konsep art gitu. In reality ya kan.
You're making a product kan in the end, kayak
Betul.
misalnya you're working in the kitchen, someone has to wash the dishes, you know.
Iya, benar.
And doesn't mean that you can't work your way up, tapi kebanyakan your first job pasti lebih humble lah, the things that you're doing. And I think something I see with the younger artists is that they expect a bit too much lah.
Kalau Mas Jordan sendiri ada cerita menarik nggak dari project-project sebelumnya yang mungkin desainnya kayak, ini maksud briefnya apaan sih gitu, tapi harus kita ini gitu, harus kita deliver gitu.
Ada. I mean, if I really want to get into it, I don't want it to turn it into a rant session. Then, maybe for the sake of professionalism, I'll skip out on this part there. Tapi, with that said, look, the nature of working in the industry, you're gonna work with different clients.
Betul.
But some clients are gonna be lovely to work with. They value you for what you're bringing to the table, and they are also willing to compensate you well as a result. Jadi kayak, what a dream to work with. Tapi there's some clients that are pickier about what they want to do, or some of them might be a little bit more frustrating to deal with because they can't seem to make up their mind gitu segala macam. And I know that this isn't necessarily what you're asking, tapi I think one valuable skill to have as a concept artist is not just the technical side of things, tapi juga people skills.
Benar.
How to communicate. Karena I think what I see is that a lot of us as artists lebih introvert
Benar.
Dan kita lebih malu, dan juga mungkin kita merasa kayak, aduh, it's my first job, I don't want to sabotage it, lebih baik diam-diam aja gitu atau apa. Tapi I think what is really valuable is learning to be able to communicate yourself. If you have any disagreements, And if you also are not happy with something, and I'm not saying kayak you do it in a way that is unprofessional, ya, kayak complaining gitu atau
Yeah.
talking behind their back, but bringing it up in a professional manner, communicating kayak, hey, I noticed that when you gave me this feedback, you wanted me to do this, but I personally think that this might be better. I mean, what are your thoughts, for example? Bukan kayak, oh, I don't agree with this. I'm not gonna follow it. Here's my way.
Wah, nggak itu. Nggak ada yang mau kerja sama orang yang kayak gitu kan.
Yeah. But that's the thing, yeah, is that I think not very many of us, especially if we're artists yang benar work from home all of the time, belum ada pengalaman kerja sebelumnya, mungkin kita juga nggak tahu cara deal with it. Terus kita diam-diam aja sampai kita benar nggak bisa nahan lagi, terus meledak.
Ya.
Terus kita maybe quit atau kita say something we regret. So I think one of the really important things to think about when working in the industry is really learning to communicate things, and if you disagree with something is to speak up no matter what your skill level, ya. Tapi of course there's a fine balance. Kadang-kadang ya juga ada humility aspect, kayak oh, if you're a junior concept artist terus ada someone that has been in the industry for a long time, ya, depending on what it is, there are moments that you should also realize lah, kayak well, that person has a lot of experience, jadi sometimes it's good to be open-minded and yeah, try things out juga. And yeah, there's different circumstances and nuances on when you can disagree and when not to, tapi I do believe that it's also important to realize that in the end we are also people, we have our own needs, and there's just base needs and dignities that we need to be able to speak up and stand up for juga. Don't let people juga take advantage of you gitu to the point that you resent them. Atau ntar, like I said, in the end you want to stay quiet because you don't want to rock the boat, tapi you hold it in to the point you can't anymore, terus big drama juga.
Iya sih. Bener sih. Itu komunikasi itu kalau boleh jujur nomor 1 ya di industri ini justru. Soalnya ya itu siapa juga yang mau kerja sama orang yang mengesalkan gitu.
Ya, benar.
Terus aku mau balik lagi ke tadi yang kita bahas sebelumnya. Ada confusion di students kayak portfolio dan kerjaan konsep art itu ngapain gitu. Dan sekarang kan banyak nih murid-murid atau bahkan aspiring artist yang lagi membangun portfolio mereka, tapi mereka kayak nggak tahu gitu loh arahnya harus kemana gitu, dan diisinya harus ada apa aja gitu. Bahkan di WBA pun kan kita tuh ada portfolio building di akhir full course. Terus kadang mereka tuh suka bikin sesuatu yang kompleks banget gitu, nanti ini karakternya akan kedepannya nanti akan jadi apa gitu, nanti ini ada apalah gitu, terus kayak wow yang simple aja gitu. Kayak oke, misalkan bikin kereta api bisa masuk lava gitu kan, it's a problem gitu, dan it's simple
for sure.
dan itu keren gitu, bisa keren gitu, dan portonya bisa kayak gitu aja gitu.
Sure.
Tapi menurut Mas Jordan sendiri, apa sih yang harus ada di porto junior artist ya terutama ya, atau aspiring artist buat masuk ke industri?
Well, this is definitely a very common question, and what's challenging about answering this sih in a precise manner ya tergantung orangnya, tergantung what they want to get into in terms of studio, and also you can say their interests. And for example, I don't know about you, but I want to be hired for something that I'll enjoy lah.
Betul.
I'm not going to be putting in kayak sci-fi vehicles in my portfolio karena that's not what I enjoy. And some people ada mentality kayak I want to, whatever job I'll do, I'll just do everything gitu, and I'll put it all in my portfolio. But the downside of doing that, it means that you have no clear identity. And the reality is that people will hire you for what you're best at, So if you have a lot of things, kayak imagine aja di restoran gitu ya. I use a lot of food analogies. because
Iya.
I'm a foodie and I love food. Tapi
Sama.
bayangin aja ada awesome dude.
Iya, iya.
Oh ya. Bayangin aja di restoran ada menu gitu. Kadang-kadang menunya kalau terlalu banyak items, you might think, wow, so many options, so good. But I get overwhelmed. Or too many things gitu. And the reality is that pasti kokinya ada specialty dish. I'm sure of it. Tapi how am I supposed to know on the menu? Yeah, you can say the chef recommendation, tapi too many options actually ends up overwhelming. It creates noise, and to the point that kadang-kadang it's like, udahlah, I don't want to look at it. And think about it this way, you might think, waduh, sombong banget nih recruiternya nggak mau look at my portfolio karena I have too many options. Nah, that's one thing, one thing on your one portfolio that they're looking at. Imagine that they're getting hundreds every day. You think that they're going to sit through, oh yeah, I'm gonna look at every dish gitu. They're just gonna look at it, kayak udah initial feelingnya nggak gitu pleasant gitu, atau kayak this is overwhelming, udahlah next. So I recommend mendingan narrow down your menu to the specialty dishes that you have. Nah, itu one part of the analogy, yeah. But also another thing as well, of course, the reality is that you're going to be hired for how you can contribute value to a production. The sooner they can see you fitting within that production, the sooner that they'll be able, or the more confidently they'll be able to say, okay, let's hire this guy. So what I mean is this, you have to understand what your role is for a concept artist. But here's the tricky part, kan. To know that, you kind of need to be in the industry.
Iya, itu.
But if you don't have the experience, you feel like, how am I going to get hired? So that's a bit of the catch-22.
Iya.
However, I think that, yeah, that's where having someone that is a professional look at your portfolio review can help. Tapi let's just say, you cannot reach out to anyone. But although I do recommend, zaman sekarang, just DM someone.
Betul.
Be polite, ask them for their time, say thank you at the very least. Lah. Just common decency will get you a long way in terms of just having a professional look at your things, atau get a mentorship or a class or anything like that. But if you really cannot, this is a good advice that I've been given a lot, and I still give to other people as well, is that look at the studios that you're targeting juga. Generally, they will put up work that they will put up work that the artists have done, and you look at what the artists have done and use that as a bit of a benchmark. So this is kind of like faking it until you make it gitu. Even if you don't fully understand, lihat aja kayak, okay, are they doing turnarounds? Are they looking for mostly this style or this prop atau character? And you try to make your portfolio close to that. Bukan artinya then you have to do fan art of that. I'm not saying that. Tapi kayak misalnya this studio is a mobile phone game. Stylenya lebih Clash of Clans lah gitu. So isometric architecture, lebih stylized and chunky, warnanya colorful. Terus they like to see different types of functionality kayak ini mungkin blacksmith, ini apalah the inn or whatever. By the way, I've never played Clash of Clans, so I'm only guessing. So, any Clash of Clans there, don't shoot me for this. Tapi all I'm saying is that you look at that, then maybe your portfolio project, okay, I'm going to do isometric buildings. Just I'm going to explore different types of functionality. Just with the vibrant colors and similar art direction gitu. And if they do autographs, it means it's valuable. So maybe I'll do different angles of the building gitu. Nah, assuming you want to work for these kinds of jobs juga. So now when the recruiter looks at that, they can more easily imagine you fitting into the pipeline immediately without kayak, am I taking a risk with this guy? Kayak, he's applying for Clash of Clans tapi worknya lebih photorealistic Last of Us gitu. There is a chance that they can do it, tapi kayak mereka perlu bukti gitu. And not all of the recruiters are going to be the artists all of the time. Sometimes they're HR gitu atau apa. Jadi it's harder to convince them. And even if you are an artist, it's a big risk to take. So getting your work closer to their needs, yeah. Like I said, bukan artinya you have to do Clash of Clans concepts gitu atau apa. Just something yang nggak terlalu far removed dan nggak terlalu beda, and not too much of a stretch to imagine. Okay, I think this guy mungkin we give him a little bit of training atau runway, dalam berapa bulan dia pasti bisa dapat lah gitu.
Okay.
So that's, I think, another part. If you really cannot get a hold of a professional to help look at your portfolio and you want to do this self-analysis, just look at the studio that you're targeting for. And of course, try to aim for maybe if you, you can have your dream studio, but if you want to aim for a smaller studio first gitu, then maybe see how you can build up to it gitu. Jadi, for example, maybe you want to start with like a mobile game studio and stylized architecture, tapi in the end you want to work for Riot gitu. Ya itu kan a bit of a progression stylenya. Tapi daripada langsung Riot, kayak Riot or nothing, you can maybe start with smaller studios that have a similar style. Try to get into that first. And once you've gotten your foot into the door, it'll be much easier for you to accelerate your learning. Kind of, you're gonna have access to resources. You're actually going to know what concept artists do. You're gonna make friends that are just as good, if not better than you, that could then help you to learn faster. Jadi kadang-kadang orang terlalu obses sama the dream job immediately. Tapi kenapa nggak gradually work your way up to it gitu?
Benar. Iya sih. Sama sih dulu kan kita semua gitu lah ya, pengennya triple A games, Naughty Dog, Blizzard, apalah dulu EA kan dulu masih ini. Ya tapi kita juga mulai, Mas Jordan juga mulai dari casino mobile games gitu, dari studio animasi kecil gitu, tapi kita bisa achieve step by step gitu, perlahan-lahan kita mengenal konsep art itu apa. Membangun koneksi itu yang paling penting juga.
Pengalaman juga how to work.
Cara berkomunikasi dengan tim itu kan juga ini HR mungkin melihat itu juga ya, gimana sih kita di sebelumnya gitu. Nah, itu bisa mulai dari situ,
for sure.
Gitu.
Lots of like these unseen factors juga. It's not always about the portfolio. Even just putting on your resume you have this experience gitu, itu membantu banget kok.
Itu mantep banget sih. Kalau Mas Jordan dulu cara nge-break through masuk ke industrinya gimana tuh?
I think my story is not too exciting karena kan di FCD ada graduation show ya. For some batches. And my batch had a graduation show and there was a recruiter there for the Sino Game Studio. So he looked at my work, he emailed me, and we were in touch after that. And we worked something out.
Okay. Wow.
So for my first job, if you're talking about my first major job, I would say that was with Adam Hawks. And that was my first international job. Sebelumnya, I worked in Batavian studio lokal di Jakarta. And some of you guys might have somewhat heard about it. But I was there for only 3 months, and by the end of my probation, the studio actually got axed. The production was cancelled.
Wow. Terus gimana tuh?
I didn't know what to do. I was actually so confused, kan? So I think at that time I was still lost, and I still didn't really know what I was doing at the time. Jadi I was trying to find a new job, and I was hungry for a new and big opportunity. But for a while, I was just trying to improve my portfolio, but I really wasn't thinking too much about what to put in the portfolio, and I really struggled with perfectionism juga. Jadi, when I share a lot of my advice, how to approach a portfolio, what students struggle with, itu kebanyakan I'm drawing from my own personal experience gitu. So for me, I made a lot of the same mistakes that now I would be like, hey, what? Don't do this, do something else. And one of them for me is that, I say that work your way up. Tapi for me, I was like, Blizzard, I needed to work for Blizzard. Jadi I was trying to rebuild all of my portfolio at that time. Karena I was in a stage kayak with Grim Art. It was actually a sci-fi project. Jadi it's a bit more photorealistic, very different from what I was doing. Jadi I was in that process kayak aduh gimana mau apply ke Blizzard kalau my portfolio realistic sci-fi gitu. Jadi in my mind it's like okay, I need to create projects yang lebih stylized environments, and I want to rebuild my portfolio. So I really struggled, with perfectionism, setting deadlines for myself. So at that time, I was just creating projects, tapi kayaknya nggak ada an end point gitu. It was almost like I was just burying myself in my work to kind of avoid doing the work of like really thinking about what I needed to do gitu. One of the things that really helped me was actually going to one of Caravan Studios workshops.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And that happened a few months. Yeah, not work there. Cuman, it's just more so the workshop.
Okay. Ya, mulai berarti.
Yeah, they had a workshop.
Berarti mulai masuk kayak menemukan stylenya Mas Jordan nih. Itu mulai dari situ kah? Yang sekarang kan udah banyak nih stylized di portfolionya gitu.
Itu lebih ke apa ya? It's not so much the style itself, although I did learn some great technical things and techniques from there. Even the painting style, I really learned a lot. For example, from Korudi gitu, where he showed how he approaches it. So that was still a big thing. Tapi I think what really helped me more than anything else is that at that point in my life, I was kind of lost. Kayak, I just got laid off from this job. I don't know where I wanted to go in my career. I just got married and I promised my wife that I'm gonna find a job that will help us to move overseas gitu. Tapi I think my self-confidence and esteem was so low at that point. And like I said, I just buried myself in work almost as a way to avoid confronting those feelings gitu ya. So yes, I was doing work, tapi I wasn't doing things as efficiently atau kayak with as much of a goal in mind. It was just a vague goal. Kayak, I want to work for Blizzard. I just want to work on my portfolio. How many pieces I wanted to create, when I wanted to finish, what my next steps are after I finished it. I didn't think about it. Cuma kayak, no, I just need to grind. I just need to do it. Kayak, like I said, it's just almost like a way to avoid asking myself these uncomfortable questions juga. But going to Caravan Workshop, what it helped me out with is that it reconnected me with a sense of community. Karena before, in FCD, I got so used to working with people in the studio, and I don't know about you, I really miss that. I feel like until now, the best way that I work is when I'm talking to people sambil doing my stuff. And I crave that. But because I was grinding on my portfolio alone at home, jadi kayak it just felt like I was getting lost in my own thoughts gitu without really talking to anyone. So when Caravan Studio had the workshop, it helped me reconnect with that. And it was so inspiring for me that I decided to, with a friend of mine, Ken Darmadi, he's still one of my very close friends, that we actually decided to create Jakarta Meetup gitu. Kind of we thought, we don't want this to end after Caravan Workshop. We actually want to still keep this sense of community alive, to meet other artists, to inspire one another. That's actually the reason why we made it in the first place.
Wow.
It was after Caravan Workshop.
Caravan Workshop itu justru ya, jadi membuat komunitas itu.
Iya.
Oh, keren ya. Ini kayak one side of the artist yang jarang pernah didengar atau diketahui sama orang-orang. Kalau kita tuh semua struggle juga loh gitu, sama kayak kalian juga gitu.
Yeah.
Dan we've been through that gitu. Jadi makanya kita juga kayak Mas Jordan buka mentorship, aku buka WBA itu ya karena kita nggak mau kalian melalui apa yang kita lalui gitu di saat-saat yang paling rendahnya gitu. Jadi Ya itu
Yeah,
makanya kita seneng banget mengajar, seneng banget ngebantu. Mas Jordan bangun
absolutely.
komunitas, kita juga di sini bangun komunitas konsep art dan mencoba,
Yeah.
aku sih mencoba menyebarkan di Indonesia apa sih konsep art itu. Soalnya pas
Mm,
pertama kali datang pun kayak pas job paling pertama ya gitu.
mm.
Kayak sebagai konsep artis kok gini mereka kerjanya gitu kayak kok
Yeah, yeah,
gitu,
yeah.
nggak efisien terus
Mm,
kayak nggak ada
yeah.
functionnya gitu. Berarti dari situlah baru sadar kayak oke, di Indonesia belum terbuka gitu konsep art, dan
Yeah,
inilah
yeah.
kenapa adanya WBA gitu.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I mean, I'm happy to hear that you have the same motivation gitu. For me, yeah, it's because simply put, yeah,
Hmm.
why I teach now and why I love teaching is that I just want to give others the things that my younger self needed.
Hmm, bener-bener. Ya, itu jadi motivasi kita juga ya, kayak kalau kita bisa balik ke masa lalu tuh kayak gini loh, jangan jangan kayak gitu.
Yeah,
Kita kalau bisa ngarahin diri sendiri
yeah,
sih bisa gitu. Cuman kita
yeah.
kasih ke orang lain gitu. Kita kasih chance ke mereka yang lebih membutuhkan.
Mm, absolutely. And I feel very privileged gitu. Kayak I feel so lucky. Kayak maksudnya kayak
Ya,
to be able to do concept art and you know, especially back then kayak concept art in Indonesia lebih small lagi gitu.
oh iya
Jadi
kecil.
for us to have this opportunity to do this for a job, kayak wow.
Iya.
If you really think about it, it's a blessing to have. And I know a lot of people want the same, tapi mereka nggak ada resource, nggak ada mentor atau
Bener,
someone
bener.
to tell them about these things. And you know lah, in Indonesia, one of the challenges is actually the some it's still the outlook on art gitu. Art
Hmm.
kayaknya masih belum gitu respect
Hmm,
dibanding some other cultures.
benar.
Dan as a result, kadang-kadang I see people yang ada interest tapi orang tuanya nggak
Iya,
kasih mereka belajar art gitu.
hmm,
Mendingan do something else lah gitu.
benar. Benar.
Jadi I feel like for me I'm very fortunate. My parents supportive. Tapi I know not everyone is. And
Hmm.
one of my goals is just to show people bisa kok. You can live a fulfilling life as an artist. And at the same time, if you do want to do it, yeah, I want to be able to help you get there and learn from the mistakes that I made, learn from the lessons I've had. Karena as we all know, it's such a challenging journey juga.
Ya,
It's not about the technical skill, in my opinion, and hold people back. Kebanyakan is the mental
nah
and the
betul,
mindset.
betul, betul banget. Itu kerasa banget di student WBA juga ya. Mereka mindsetnya tuh
Mm,
kadang nggak set on, mungkin ke
mm,
apa, nggak fokus juga mereka, lebih tepatnya tuh ya.
mm,
Ketimbang ya, kalau kalau di luar negeri mungkin udah, karena udah populer juga kali ya, mereka tahu artis itu apa, kerjanya apa, jadi mereka
mm.
mindsetnya udah oke, kalau mau jadi artis aku harus fokus gitu jadi artis.
Mm.
Kalau di sini
Think
kan
ya memang iya sih. Tapi ya tergantung juga ya, tergantung culture-nya apa. Tapi juga I think yeah, I mean there's a lot of factors ya. Definitely cultural is one thing, tapi another thing juga ya of course it's like the ecosystem juga ya. Kayak di
hmm,
Amerika itu atau di Europe because there's already so many studios. Yeah, there's usually schools
iya,
that have the programs that help.
iya,
Jadi
benar.
udah kayak set
Iya, benar.
and also it's just easier for you to fit into that pipeline lah gitu.
Mhm.
Kalau di Indo kayak let's just say even if you wanted to, apalagi back then ya, sekarang udah better lah.
Mhm.
Tapi back then mau get into concept art ya udah kemana?
Benar. Gak ada yang ngajarin konsep art juga di sini kan.
Iya. I mean now yeah with people like you gitu and me as well. And yeah I think the availability of online resources it's more possible lah sekarang.
Hmm.
Tapi dulu beneran loh kayak
Wah,
aduh
gak
I like I said I only knew about FZD and concept art when I was halfway through university gitu.
iya, benar. Sama. Dulu juga mau ke siapa? Dosen kuliah juga nggak touch on konsep art juga gitu kan. banyaknya
Yeah, yeah,
graphic
yeah.
design kan dulu, apa sih namanya, video multimedia design yang kayak gitu-gitu kan banyaknya. Ya, konsep
Yeah,
art.
yeah, yeah.
Ya, tapi beruntunglah kalian sekarang, kita ada Mas Jordan, ada Whiteverse Academy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's great. I'm very happy to see that you've also decided to, take up teaching as well,
Ya.
and yeah, really help build the local industry gitu. And yeah, I know that I'm overseas, tapi I'm also still very much passionate lah gitu. That even when I go back, going to Jakarta meetup gitu to see how much it has grown, and even some of my mentees juga ada beberapa dari Indo juga. So one of my goals juga ya, I want to show people kayak ya Indonesia bisa juga lah gitu.
Nah,
On an international level, doesn't matter. I don't want to use the excuse karena saya dari Indonesia, terus my upbringing kayak gini, terus juga karena kurang resource, ya it's like impossible lah. Tapi no, I want to show people, look, doesn't matter that even though maybe we come from a country with less resources, I want to show other Indonesians that it is possible to succeed at an international level juga.
benar.
Yeah, to inspire others that, hey, look, you can do it too.
Mantap, bro. Amin. Oke, mungkin sekarang saatnya kita bisa masuk ke sesi tanya jawab ya. Kita bisa diskusi
Yeah,
dari
absolutely.
community ini, dari banyak banget, lumayan sih, ada 4 pertanyaan dan kita bisa diskusiin satu-satu. Thank you buat
Yeah,
yang nanya
boleh.
di Instagram. Sekarang kita mulai dari pertanyaan paling pertama dari Raphaelism. Apakah konsep artis seperti halnya 3D artist yang punya segmen spesialis? Mungkin ada ya kok specialty-nya konsep artis, kayak character artist, environment
Oh,
artist.
ada.
Kayak gitu-gitu ya.
Ada. Dan juga speaking of 3D, ada konsep artis yang work exclusively in 3D.
Ya betul.
Atau ya mostly, not exclusive, tapi kebanyakan. So in other words, it's all about the idea kan. Jadi pakai medium apa? Ada orang yang masih pakai traditional loh,
Masa?
konsep art juga.
Pernah lihat?
Ya, masih ada. Pernah lihat?
Wow.
I have a friend here yang does traditional concept art.
Wow. Pakai Copic marker berarti apa?
Ya. Copic pen gitu segala macam.
Wah.
Tapi ya, I also know people yang juga konsep artnya ya pakai 3D aja gitu. Jadi ya whatever you use program wise ya sebetulnya sih ya it's not as important. Itu lebih beneran the way you think. Tapi everyone memang ada specialization ya.
Yeah.
It's generally comes from interest juga and what they're good at. So for me back then I thought I wanted to do characters, tapi I actually realized that after learning perspective kayak environments is actually more fun.
Iya benar.
So I didn't actually expect that I'd love environments so much. So sometimes what you really want to do and what you end up being good at might be a surprise to you juga ya. So I'd recommend as a beginner, before you make that conclusion, kadang-kadang ya, at least at this stage ya, before you really commit to it ya, have fun aja, coba gambar all sorts of subject matter, and you'll never know kayak sometimes what you end up really landing on gitu and what you really enjoy.
Kalau Mas Jordan recommend nggak buat junior artist atau aspiring artist buat portonya tuh specialize in one thing, kayak character art aja, environment art aja?
Yeah. At first I recommend choose one dulu. Karena there's so many skills to get good at ya, juga visual library segala macam. Jadi lebih baik focus on one thing karena as I said, you will be hired for what you're best at, not what you're mediocre at. Don't get me wrong, yeah, there's always a exception to that. Kadang-kadang ya people want generalists, but as a whole, I still think it'll pay off for you to specialize in one thing. And preferably, yeah, it's something that you're either the best at, but even better if you're actually you really enjoy it juga. Karena as I said, I don't want to be hired for something that I will hate doing, if I can help it.
Kita masuk ke pertanyaan kedua dari Aqua Koala, maaf ya kalau namanya penyebutannya begini. Hal dasar apa saja yang perlu diperhatikan dalam membuat konsep art selain memahami brief?
Ya, itu juga tergantung juga ya. What subject matter? Karena if you're doing character, ya of course anatomy penting. Dan juga think ya juga lighting, color segala macam. Whereas composition lebih untuk ke environment gitu. Tapi there are some fundamentals. Yeah, maybe to make this a little bit more meaningful answer is that there are, if you're asking kayak what fundamentals yang paling penting ya to start with, I would say regardless of subject matter, terutama belajar perspective. Even if you do characters ya, do perspective first. Karena if you really think about it, yeah, and I'm sure you guys have seen even characters called the breakdown. You can break down the head into like a cylinder or a sphere, just the body into cubes, segala macam.
Yeah.
And guess what? All of these things are they're forms. They're 3D forms. And what is perspective? Perspective bukan cuma untuk environment loh. Perspective in a broader sense is how objects sit in a 3D space. And what is an object? Yeah, it can be literally anything. Character, creature, building, anything of that sort. So once you learn how to do perspective, I know it's not the most fun sometimes and it can be intimidating. Tapi I promise you, if you guys really want to see a big level up and difference, just go through that. Just sit through perspective and everything will level up. Everything will feel more solid. And on top of that as well, you'll be able to create more convincing forms, segala macam, and that will then in turn help with your lighting and shadows, segala macam. Jadi I feel like if you think about it as a pyramid perspective, I think it's like the biggest base gitu.
Yeah.
And there's some things that you can build on top of it gitu. So perspective first, terus juga values and lighting and color juga, that can be a good thing to learn. That karena regardless of what you do juga itu penting. Tapi in the end, yeah, I would say there's some other things that would just depend on what you want to specialize in lah, or what you really enjoy the most.
Yeah, fundamentals guys itu penting guys. Jangan di skip.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Kadang murid
It's like
pengen skip langsung ke desain.
Yeah. There is no secret to it kan, kayak people
bener.
expect kayak this one brush atau apalah, this one
bener.
technique, tapi I think we repeat this so many times, yeah. But if you really want that secret, is to just go through the fundamentals, and perspective I really think is the most important one to learn regardless of what you do. You will see the biggest gains from your art from perspective.
Kita masuk ke next question dari Toby Gigi. Kak, saya kesulitan untuk explore visual library konsep art. Gimana ya cara generate-nya? Apakah realistis seperti konsep mesin dan lain-lain yang belum pernah ada, atau membuat yang tidak masuk akal? Mungkin ini lebih ke arah eksplorasi visual library, cara kita nge-broaden visual library. Kalau saran aku sih lebih ke coba lah jatuh cinta pada dunia gitu, coba penasaran gitu sama dunia kita sendiri gitu. Mungkin ini ada mesin, gimana sih cara mesin ini bekerja gitu. Ada gunung Merapi gimana sih kerjanya gitu. Dari situ nge-broaden visual library kita, terus kita lebih penasaran, lebih melihat dunia lebih berbeda gitu. Bahkan sampai ke orang duduk pun berbeda kan, ya kan. Mas Jordan duduknya beda sama aku.
For sure.
Gitu.
Absolutely. I think as you say, curiosity, and I know that that's probably not the answer. I mean, look, there's more depth to that answer I can give, tapi at a base level, curiosity itu yang penting. In fact, one trait that I see among successful concept artists is their curiosity. they ask why. They love learning about things. Mereka demen nonton documentary.
Yeah.
Mereka juga they're curious about how things work. And they like different subject matters gitu, atau they nerd out about one subject matter. And I think it's that way of thinking and understanding the world that allows you to then to manipulate it. Karena if you really think about it, when you're doing concepts atau fantastical concepts, bukan artinya you're doing an idea yang nggak masuk akal. That's not the point. And I put it this way, what we're doing when we're expanding our visual library is that we are expanding our vocabulary. Vocabulary that we use to communicate with others. When we're speaking a language, itu pakai words kan. And the combination of words communicate a specific idea. The more words that you know, the more you know how to use those words, the more complex of an idea you can form. So the goal as an artist, we're not using words. Kita pakai visual designs. So if you really think about it, kayak if you want to, let's just say, communicate something dangerous gitu, you might think of a shark, for example. Itu you can say it's a symbol of danger. Now we have to be curious juga, kayak why do we perceive it as something dangerous? Kadang-kadang orang bakal lihat, shark is dangerous. Why? I don't know, it just is. Kayak, if you're thinking sampai gitu aja, it's gonna be hard for you to be a successful concept artist. Think deeper. Break it down into the components. Kayak, if I'm telling you a sentence, gitu, there's a bunch of words that create that sentence together to communicate the idea. So the shark is a sentence juga. So now you have to find the individual components that make a shark recognizable as dangerous. It's the teeth. Juga, the triangular shapes. Triangular usually means dangerous. Terus juga, maybe the way that it's formed makes it look aquadynamic. As a result, it can swim fast, and as a result, more. Atau juga the position of the eyes gitu. Kayaknya, if I'm not mistaken, predators eyes-nya lebih di samping atau dibanding di
lebih ke depan.
in front.
Kalau
okay.
dia biar bisa melihat.
I see. Okay, not in that case, but but look, in the end, there's a reason why, even through evolution atau apa, that things are the way that they are. So watching documentaries can help you with that. But kadang-kadang it's just even asking aja yourself, kayak, how sharp the teeth are, that makes it feel dangerous. Okay, so when you're creating a design that feels dangerous, maybe you can have inspiration from the shark gitu, secara siluet, atau maybe the shark teeth gitu dipakai in the armor atau apalah gitu. So now that you know what components make a shark feel dangerous, you can take these individual components and then you can play around with it and manipulate it and combine it with other things to form a new idea. But creating a new idea doesn't mean that you create something alien that hasn't been seen before. You are just trying to take parts and things of what people understand as the foundation, but the combination of certain things can make it feel unique.
Benar banget. Kadang orang suka mereka, apalagi murid-muridnya, mereka berpikir suka lebih ke, aku harus membuat sesuatu yang tidak pernah dilihat sebelumnya gitu, yang belum pernah ada gitu. Dan sebenarnya di industri pun kita nggak bikin sesuatu yang baru-baru amat gitu ya kan. Monster Hunter contohnya gitu kan, dia kombinasi antara beberapa creature menjadi satu gitu.
For sure. Even when we communicate with a language, we use the same words kurang lebih. Terus juga in music, we use the same notes. Okay? We all have the same notes available to us. Tapi it's how we arrange the notes that make it feel unique. Tapi at the same time, there's specific genres that can help narrow it down even more. So you want to make sure that there's some recognizability juga. Bukannya, like I said, kayak completely random and something that is so unrecognizable that people don't understand. Your goal is still to be understood. So to study that, first of all, be curious. Tapi start observing things around you aja and start asking yourself why. Watch documentaries gitu, learn how things work. So that when you come up with your own universe, maybe you just watch a video about kaya how people mine things atau how people collect birds' nests from a cave. Just you can think about that. Okay, what if the bird nest, instead of birds, they're actually like these giant, these giant flying creatures. That maybe these giant flying creatures gitu that can breathe fire lah or whatever. So maybe like, okay, I know how they collect birds' nests, tapi now that they breathe fire, gimana ya? How do you protect against that? Oh, maybe they wear hazmat suits atau apa to protect them from. So, terus maybe why do they breathe fire atau kayak where's the location? Jadi mungkin instead of a normal cave, it's in a volcanic cave atau apa. Terus sudah, you have something quite interesting there. The basis is the bird nest collection, which is like maybe 80% of the concept. The extra 20% is the twist or the hook. It's like, collecting bird nests, but the birds are giant fire-breathing reptiles atau apa in a volcano. That's all you need sometimes. Gak usah kayak something completely alien gitu. And sometimes, 80% is the something familiar, 20% is the twist gitu, the fantastical twist. When you're more confident, bisa 70-30, 60-40, bisa 60-30, 10. And tapi, you generally want to make sure that you start with little changes dulu lah. It's kind of like awal-awalnya when you're learning to ride a bike, you have training wheels. Atau when you're learning how to cook, you follow a recipe dulu. Kalau drawing juga sama. You don't have to change too much first. Start by a small change dulu. When you become more confident, make it more of your own. And eventually, you will learn to have that confidence to create something that's more uniquely you.
Ini yang dilakukan Mas Jordan juga, bukan? Di video Mas Jordan ada yang 3 reference challenge.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's why I love doing it and I want other people to try it out. Is that people often think juga art, I don't want any limitations. I want to do whatever I want. Tapi there's a reason why beginners freeze up at looking at a blank canvas, because it means infinite possibilities. It's actually easier to have some limitation, not completely. If you got, that's also like, being imprisoned by it. But there must be a balance where then the limitations actually help you to narrow down certain things. But you will be so surprised at how, if you really can look past just the basic symbol of the object and you break it down into its individual qualities gitu, atau you take specific parts, how creative you can be even with these 3 references. And in the challenge, you can see so many artists creating very different results. Yeah, of course, there's unseen things. You have the personal preferences, their life experience, what they like, what they don't like. Even when we look at the same thing, there's going to be different things that we like about it and things that we don't like. So there's always going to be a factor of personal preference and expression and experience filtering that as well.
Oke, kita lanjut ke pertanyaan yang terakhir.
Mm.
Oke, dari Zero to Agatha. Oke. Minta tips bagi waktu untuk kita-kita yang kerja 8 to 5 tapi pengen jago di konsep art tanpa ngerasa burnout. Itu
I see.
pertanyaan yang bagus dan susah untuk
Yeah,
dijawabnya juga.
Iya sih. I think of course it can be very different from different people. Kadang-kadang kan orang commute-nya panjang, and then when they get home they're just so exhausted and all that. So first of all, I understand, my sympathies. But I think one of the reasons why people find it hard to do personal work after whatever it is that they're doing, is because they generally are a bit too ambitious. And what I mean, when they get home, they're like, I need to work on my portfolio project. I need to work on this piece. I need to push my skills. Kaya mikirin the task ahead aja udah bikin pusing, udah bikin capek gitu. In other words, it overwhelms us. Jadi what does our body do? Ya udah, it's like shuts down lah, atau kayak udahlah. No, I don't want to do it. But that's the thing. You don't. That's the end goal. Tapi the way you get ya beda. You don't force yourself by throwing yourself into the deep end. What I recommend, sama aja kayak working out. Kayak your goal untuk fit, your goal untuk be able to be very strong, that let's just say you want to deadlift twice your body weight lah, whatever. That's the goal. Tapi masa awal-awalnya langsung deadlift kayak gitu, ya pasti injury lah, atau pasti nggak bisa. Nah, how about you start off with something yang manageable dulu. What makes it so challenging with art is that at least when it comes to physical activities, ada a certain sense of limitation ya. That, like I said, if someone has never lifted before and they expect to lift kayak 200 kilos deadlift gitu,
Wah, nggak.
nggak bisa.
Nggak.
So they understand. Tapi kenapa artis kayak, oh, that hasn't done personal work in a long time. Oh, I want to do a world building project that has like 3 characters, 10 environments,
Wow.
and then 5 sheets of props. Kayak, you see what I'm saying? Kayak
Yeah.
kenapa langsung jump off the deep end gitu.
Betul.
In fact, my recommendation daripada langsung having that mindset, make it so small and manageable that you can see yourself doing it most days, no matter what. Mungkin 5 menit aja sehari awal-awalnya. Just 5 minutes. Just start, and the goal, don't think about anything terlalu serious. Lebih kayak, I want to do something that I love doing. If you love doing anime characters atau you love doing environments, ya udah just open up Pinterest, sketch something. 5 menit done, udah.
Yeah.
Feel accomplished by that. Celebrate that. And do that for maybe like a week. And once you're done with that, try for the next week. Okay, mungkin kali ini 15 menit. So, you will keep on repeating this process until you realize that, aduh, kalau saya nggak gambar hari ini rasanya aneh gitu. It's a habit gitu. Karena the mind, I believe, doesn't really care so much about how much it does, but it will feel the sense of accomplishment that it creates and the habits that it forms sampai when you don't do it, rasanya aneh gitu. So in other words, that becomes a habit already.
Yeah.
Nah, but give it enough time, the 15 minutes bakal jadi setengah jamnya bakal jadi sejam. And guess what? At a certain point, you'll get so used to it that ya udah, every day you're maybe working 1 hour, 2 hours, and before you know it, ya in a couple months, ya udah bisa aja jadi personal portfolio project. Dan eventually juga you make it more challenging. Awal-awalnya you do whatever you want, tapi next time maybe okay, I'm going to do a study and lebih specific to a skill that I want to learn. Tapi later on, okay, I want to take it more seriously and I want to do a more proper portfolio project. But it will be easier for you to do so when you already have that foundation and the habit. Tapi if you don't have that and also the conditioning ya, belum terbiasa, kenapa langsung, oh I want to do portfolio project and ini segini banyak character, segini banyak environment. We need to condition and train ourselves in the same way as you would with, let's just say, exercising gitu.
Benar sih. Ya mereka juga, kalian harus ingat juga ya, kalau kita di dunia profesional pun membuat satu environment aja tuh membutuhkan banyak tim untuk membuat satu dunia yang besar gitu. Dan ini kalian nge-tackle sendiri gitu ya. Pasti overwhelm lah gitu, dan itu akan kena ke mental kalian, physical kalian juga gitu. Jadi benar sih kata Mas Jordan, coba start small, kecil-kecil, tiap hari konsisten, itu yang penting. Yang penting konsisten, jangan berhenti tengah jalan, tapi gradually naik sedikit demi sedikit. Dan itu mungkin nanti lama-lama jadi porto yang lengkap, mungkin world buildingnya tercapai.
Dan lebih baik, for example, 20-30 minutes every day dibanding satu hari 8 jam. Consistency jauh lebih penting dibanding intensity. Tapi in time you will have consistency and intensity. Tapi perlu sabar, jangan dipaksa. Dan menurut saya, when your foundation is you do it because you enjoy it, lebih gampang dibanding kayak when you force yourself out of guilt atau shame kayak bodoh males atau males nih. Then after that you're gonna get so used to being motivated by shame and guilt. Jadi every time you want to draw, guess what you think about? The feelings of shame and guilt. And that's not sustainable. Mungkin short period of time bisa. Tapi in the long term, if you're so used to that thought process to get yourself to be productive, that's how you will always be. Makanya, one of my biggest advice and something that I've recently learned, be gentle, be compassionate, and be very conscious about what you tell yourself. Nah, tapi bukan artinya this kind of approach artinya no result atau artinya soft. But like I said, our goal in the end is to build up that intensity and consistency, tapi with the solid foundation of something that's emotionally sustainable. That's the goal.
Nice. Okay, that's all dari question. Mungkin dari Mas Jordan ada kata-kata untuk junior artist atau murid-murid yang sedang belajar konsep art?
I think what I last said, I think that's one of the most important things that I want to communicate to you guys is that I think a lot of us, maybe because we're so used to this guy growing up, maybe this is how we've been taught, atau maybe this is how we see people gitu, is that that grind set gitu. Kayak no pain no gain. Don't get me wrong, working hard is important. Tapi I think too much of us, I notice with artists, we're motivated by negative emotions, like I said, out of shame, out of guilt. But I really encourage you guys, try to really remember why you guys want to do this in the first place. You guys probably do it because you love art. You actually remember the times when you're a kid, you got lost in drawing. That's the thing ya, when we were kids, kita gambar seharian, nggak lihat waktu. Gampang banget gitu. Tapi kenapa as an adult nggak bisa? So this is what I mean. I want you guys to remember that and try to tap into that. Dan bayangin aja kayak, if it helps, imagine yourself, how you talk to yourself. Try and talk to yourself as if it's to your younger self. Misalnya kayak you have your younger self, terus kayak dia misalnya struggling, abis kerja capek gitu. Masa you say, bodoh, males banget sih nggak mau kerja. Yeah, why are you talking to yourself like that? Like I said, maybe it's because you're used to hearing other people talk to you like that. But I promise you, kayak, you need to learn to be gentle and compassionate. Kayak, this kid, kayak, just say, hey, it's okay. I know you're tired, but hey, let's try to do 5 minutes, 10 minutes today. And maybe when you're done with it, yeah, awesome. Keep it up. All right, tomorrow, let's do it again. And try to nurture that side so you can tap into it juga. So I'm not saying, kayak, as a kid, kayak, that is helpless, tapi more tapping into the nature of a kid that can spend so long drawing without realizing that time has passed, and the creativity you had as a kid. I really do think that some of the best artists that I see have that creative courage gitu, to just try ideas out, nggak takut fail, nggak takut idenya nggak bagus. Tapi if we take things too seriously, kadang-kadang we end up kayak, udah, this idea too crazy, too silly. Terus akhirnya generic idea.
Yeah.
So funnily enough, by being too serious about art, you end up with very generic things. And you also put so much weight from your failures. Jadi when you create a design atau sketch yang gak bagus, kayak you feel so bad. Terus ya udah, you feel like quitting atau you feel like stopping. But imagine if you saw it almost with childlike wonderment. Kayak, okay, this is funny, it's interesting, but okay, there's some things I like about it. Atau kayak, it's okay, I had fun doing it, I'll move on. Kayak, you become less fragile, funnily enough, and you're able to test ideas out even if it seems crazy atau seems silly. Some of my best designs are the ones that I felt like, it seems silly, tapi I'm gonna try it anyways. So, tap into that. Remember why you wanted to do art in the first place. Tap into that childlike wonderment. Not that childlike naivety or that childlike helplessness. That's not what I'm saying, but into that childlike wonderment and enjoyment and passion towards your art. That's what I believe, that if we can really make it a habit and tap into constantly, that is what will give us the motivation to do more personal work outside of our own work, for us to keep on doing art.
Mantap Mas Jordan. Thank you ya udah datang ke podcast WBA hari ini.
Yeah,
Thank you for
absolutely.
your
My
time.
pleasure.
Pasti lagi sibuk banget, apalagi nanti mau ada mentorship juga.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure, man. Like, I'm happy to share my experience, and this is something I'm very passionate about as well. So I appreciate the opportunity for me to be able to share on your platform, Yuga, to your other WBA students as well. So I really appreciate that.
Mantap, thank you. Jadi guys, jangan lupa check out Mas Jordan di Instagramnya, atau mau ikut mentorshipnya kalau kalian mau level up skill konsep artis kalian. Gak usah ragu-ragu lagi, langsung aja ikut mentorshipnya Mas Jordan. Atau kalian mau ngasah fundamental kalian, bisa ikut White Bears Academy juga. Jadi thank you guys buat ikut podcast hari ini. See you on the next podcast. Dan bye bye. Thank
Yeah,
you.
take care, guys.